This conference will now be recorded.
Sir, am I audible? Nikhil sir, am I audible?
Yeah, I'm not Nikhil. I'm Sharachandra Karve, but you're audible.
Okay, sir. Good evening, one and all. I, Himanshu Saluja, student of D Crust, I am here to introduce amongst all my fellow students Sri Sharachandra Karve. He has an eminent experience of 37 years in domains of manufacturing, projects planning and commissioning learning and development, followed with Six Sigma and quality development functions. He has given his esteemed service to Reliance Foundation for development of sustainable quality initiatives. He has also been the mentor of 300 plus improvement projects for manufacturing services and Reliance Retail, followed by supply chain, Geo, FC, etc. Dr. Shri S.G. Garve sir has also been accredited with quality certification including ASQ certified Master Black Belt, ASQ certified manager for organizational excellence, and the list goes on. I would lastly conclude, express my heartiest gratitude to him for giving all of the students present here his valuable time out of his busy schedule, sharing out his esteemed knowledge and experience with all of us. Thank you so much, sir, for giving your valuable time.
Thank you. So good evening all. Primarily, first of all, I congratulate you for having an insight on a Six Sigma during your graduation course, because Six Sigma is not an course which is generally taught at the graduation level, and it is a different skills tool, like, or a skill set. It is not like your thermodynamics, kinetics, or material balance, or energy balance, like a tool. It is different. It is this tool will help you throughout your life. The most important thing is this tool will help you throughout your life if you practice it properly and understand it properly. So it is basically a management tool, or management methodology, or it is not a tool, it is a methodology. The Six Sigma is a methodology to improve any process. We often improve our scores, our everything. Look, we are part of an improvement all the time, but the Six Sigma is based on the statistical tools and data driven process. So I will explain you throughout this awareness session that how Six Sigma is different than other approaches. There are n number of other approaches also, but how this Six Sigma is different than other approaches, and how really we have to use Six Sigma in our day-to-day life, or how it will be helpful for you in throughout your career. You may be at any level. You join any organization. This is a way of thinking. The Six Sigma methodology is a way of thinking, and if you practice, or if you adopt this, it will be most helpful for you in your career growth and thinking process. So let us start with the session today. So what is the agenda for today is why Six Sigma methodology. There are different approaches used to identify projects. Are the slides visible? Is my screen visible?
No, sir.
No, no, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Screen is not visible.
No, sir.
Let me check up now.
Sir, actually, let's. Sir, I'll make you a presenter. Please share your screen again. Actually, first of all, I will introduce. That's why I will share my screen.
I did that with Nikhil. But
Hello.
Hello. Is my screen visible?
No, sir.
Hello. Hello, Karve sir. Hello.
Hello.
Himanshu.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. Karve sir. Hello.
Hello.
Himanshu.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are
Yes, yes.
audible.
Sir, if you are not able to share the screen, can you just pass on the slides so that someone will?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now, now the screen has. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. It's now it's going great. Okay.
Now it is visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yes. Yes. We can see agenda for today.
Yes, yes. Sure, sure. So I'll continue. So it is good that I ask you because in traditional methods we generally don't ask, but this is now
Oh.
a new way of working. So let us look at the agenda today. So why Six Sigma methodology, and then different approaches used to identify projects, how Six Sigma methodology works, and we'll touch upon the concepts of and define or measure. Let us see how much time permits. So we'll cover and then continue thereafter. So of course, the objective of the session is to improve awareness of Six Sigma methodology to the participants. So let us start with the story of hare and tortoise, or tortoise and hare. So we all have heard this story during our, and we know that both of them run a race, and during that race, the tortoise wins the race, and we know the moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race. Now the story doesn't end here. After this race, the hare goes back to a tortoise and says, "Can we run a race again?" And this time tortoise says, "Yes, we can run a race again." And they run a race again. Obviously, as we all know, hare wins that race with a large margin. What is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is it is good to be slow and steady, but it is better to be fast and consistent. And fast and consistent always beat slow and steady. This is where exactly all this story is related to a Six Sigma. When we say we try to adopt a methodology called Six Sigma, so what we try to do on a processes. So try to improve the speed of the process, that is make it fast, and we try to make it consistent, that is without variation. So both these words are has a close relation with an Six Sigma methodology approaches. So basically, these are the aims of a Six Sigma, to make the process fast and consistent. So when we say we want to make the process fast, so when we want to make a process fast, we try to use a lean tools. So there are two types of tools generally used in Six Sigma, which is called as a lean tools. You must have heard this word lean. And to reduce the variation from the process, generally the statistical tools are used. So you being a chemical engineer, you should know both. Generally, the lean tools are used in a transactional processes like services, etc. But both are important. You do not know which tools you will apply. And the ultimate objective of Six Sigma methodology is to make your process fast and consistent, that is reliable. Okay, end here. Now again, the hare goes to a tortoise and says, "Can we run a race again?" Now when hare asks tortoise, he has something in mind, and he says that I will decide the route of the. And he decides the route passing through a river. Now
सरल जीवन बीमा योजना के अंतर्गत
So here comes up to the bank of the river, but he can't cross the river. So he is thinking, what should I do? The tortoise comes slowly and crosses the river and reaches the goalpost. Now, what is the moral of the story? So organizations adopt Six Sigma methodology to improve the competency of the people. Basically, in Six Sigma methodology, what we are trying to improve is the analytical skills of the participants or the employees by giving them statistical tools or lean tools, etc. So we wish to improve our process, fasten our process, consistent our process, but it doesn't happen overnight. So what we do, we empower our employees by giving them a knowledge with the tools called statistical tools or a lean. So this is what is the moral of the story. Yeah, even then, does the story ends? No. Now by this time, the hare and tortoise are friends, and they decide to run a race together. So how do they run a race together? So actually, it is not a race; it is an then task for both of them as a team. So on the ground, the tortoise is on the back. On the ground, the tortoise is on the back of the hare. When they cross the river, it is exactly ulta. The hare is on the back of the tortoise, and they swim across the river, and they win a race. Now, what is the significance of what is the moral of the story is? So the moral of the story is, it is good to be individually good, but unless you are able to work in a team and leverage each other's core competencies, you will not achieve the best. So this is also one of the main reasons why organizations adopt Six Sigma methodology, basically to inculcate the culture of a team in the organization. So it doesn't mean that some project or some improvement is being done, so it doesn't go with an individual person like Sharat Chandra Karve had done this improvement, but it goes as a team effort, and there's a cross-functional people involved in this, and then the team gets a recognition. That is how they come together to solve the particular problem, and it is disband type of a group. They doesn't continuously work together, but they come for a purpose of solving the particular problem or completing the particular project, and then they disband. So the objective is again to being a stronger teams. So together everybody achieves both. So this has been one of the important point to deploy Six Sigma in the organizations. Team to inculcate the team culture. Now, once you have a team, what team will work upon? So traditionally, we always see there is a gap between expectation and present situation, and with that expectation, there is a performance gap, and to match that performance gap, the projects are taken up. Now, somehow, it is not a wrong method, but somehow it can also be a crude method. So, is there any scientific method available to select the projects or take up the projects? Yes. So, if you the scientific approach, you must have heard the word vision. So, what is vision? So, vision are the dreams. That is what is the strategic thinking, which is called. The ultimate goal of an organization is to create wealth. But what is important to understand, the individual person also can have a vision. So I want to be a CEO of an organization, can be a vision. To be a businessman in life can be also a vision. Like you are the younger people now, and you must have a vision. And now look at this. The vision is not always related to money or a career growth or etc. I want to run a mini marathon at the age of 50. Can it be vision? Yes, it can be also a vision. It depends on the thinking of a person or what he wants in his life and what his ideology is in the life. So once you have a vision, vision is a thinking. It never comes as a number in a picture, but once you have a vision, the next step is a mission. So how you will achieve that vision is called as a mission. So one is strategic thinking, then is a strategic planning. Now this strategic planning vision comes through a strategic planning. So it can be a short term, long term. Now, if you see on your slide, there are some tools written on there. That is Hoshin Canary, SWOT analysis, balance scorecard, etc. Now, in the field of quality, there are typically two types of tools which are used. The tools which are originated from Japan and the tools which are originated from European or American countries. Now, SWOT analysis or balance scorecard are basically the Western tools, but the concept used is same. But the Hoshin Canary is a substitute for the SWOT analysis and balance scorecard, which is used by Japanese people. So even in India, you will find there are organizations. Few of the organizations, like if you go to Aditya Birla and all those organizations, they generally follow a pattern of Japanese. And some multinational companies, few of the companies, they follow a pattern or nomenclature or the words originated from European countries or American countries, like SWOT analysis, balance scorecard, etc. So vision comes true with the mission, that is strategic planning, the short-term planning and long-term planning. And the next point is, can the short-term mission or long-term mission converted into action points? So yes, that is what is called as an objective in that terminology. So what is the objective is a strategic execution. Now, when you say objective, if you look at that, my vision, it is in English on the paper. So how is vision related to vision's mission? Mission is also in an English on and paper, but the objectives must have the numbers. So if I say, my vision is I want to run a mini marathon at the age of 50, what can be my mission? So I need to practice every day. I need to run kilometers. How many kilometers per day? What is my timing? I want to reduce, or I want to maintain my weight. I want to maintain my good health. Now, how do I maintain my good health? That comes as an objective. So, what should be my cholesterol? What should be my weight? What should be my height? How much time I should practice? It is all my objectives. Am I fulfilling those objectives? And if I improve my objectives, it will ultimately turn into my vision. So if I improve any metric as an objective, it will be a part of my strategic planning, and with that strategic planning, I will achieve my vision. That is what is the concept. And the objectives which are taken up for the improvement are mostly the Six Sigma projects. So we take up the projects at L1, L2 or L3 level. You can call it as a level 1, level 2, level 3 level. Okay. Now, what is important, basically, it should be measurable. So if we can't express what we know in form of the numbers, we really don't know much about it. If we don't know much about it, we cannot control it. And if we can't control it, then we cannot improve it. It is by chance. So take up a simple example. I want to improve my timing for an 100-meter race. So what is my present timing is, I should be counting that every day. And based on that, I will say whether I will improve or not improve. So I am not measuring that. In many of the cases, we don't measure the things. So if I'm not measuring the thing, then I don't have real idea. I go only by a subjective analysis or perspective that my typing is poor, my typing is not good, etc., etc. So the whole of the methodology talks about the numbers. So anything now, just look at your activities in a day, or if you will join industry, you will be doing so many activities in a day. taking the charge of the ship, running our operation. Now try to find out what is a metric which is measurable out of that activity. That is very important. It is a different way of thinking. So you must be studying, you must be playing sports. So you find out what is the outcome which is measurable of this activity. So we need to improve that. That is what is. Even chit chatting or chatting on the phone is not bad. But what are we trying to achieve out of that activity? And can we, that is what is the Six Sigma emphasizes. Okay. So everything what we want to improve has to be measured. That is a fundamental step of an Six Sigma. Now, generally, when we take up a project in a Six Sigma, you as an yellow belt or green belt or black belt who takes up the project, does the analysis, understands what is to be done, and then he hands over that project to a process owner. It's a fundamental thing which is missing in an industry today. So once who take up it becomes his project throughout his life. So the concept of an Six Sigma is not like that. The concept of an Six Sigma is that one who takes up the project as a team, he will form a cross-functional team, improve the process, and after improving the process, he will hand it over to a process owner. So the process owner will monitor, not the project leader will monitor. So that is very important, that you have to translate that project to a process owner from policy management, from project stage to a daily management. And how he will do, the process owner will do, he may be doing it through a dashboards or key performance indicators, etc. But he is the owner, and you with a standard control plan, this is how it has to be done, we'll hand it over to a process owner. You will understand this concept as we proceed in our presentation. Okay. So we looked at one approach which is called vision, mission, objectives. So generally, if you go to the Japanese companies or Aditya Birla Group, etc. companies, they follow very rigorously what is vision, what is vision, what is vision, what is mission, and what is objectives. So if you enter the company, you will find the vision statement written on the gate in big with a banner, etc. So they follow generally a Japanese concept, or a vision, mission, objectives is a Japanese oriented concept. Now to counter that, so the same philosophy or same concept, the G rather followed this approach called business process management. So business process management is a fundamental concept of the Six Sigma. Like in an earlier process, you identify the project based on the objectives, what to improve based on the objectives. So objectives which are not meeting the mission, you take them for improvement and improve those processes so that you achieve your vision. Similarly, in this, the processes are defined at business level, operation level, and process level. So there are high level KPIs for a business. Drilling down from a high level KPIs from the business, there are operation level KPIs, and then the process level KPIs. Now, to give you an example, now suppose we look at one of the site of Reliance. So probably what is the business level KPI? What is the profitability of a particular site? Now from that business level, it depends on what? It depends on the several plants there. Suppose I take an example of a Nagarjuna manufacturing industry. So there are cracker, then polypropylene, polyethylene, then MEG plant, etc. So from that, for a total profitability of Nagarjuna is depending on the profitability or the yield or conversion factor or conversion cost of individual plants. That is what is an operation level. Operation level KPIs, and you will find that the profitability of Nagotna is not being met because my cracker plant is not performing. My yields at cracker are not good. So at cracker, you may find out some unit. My particular equipment is not performing. That is what is a process level. So again, there we had a vision, mission, objectives. Here we are saying business, operation, and process. So where to take a project? Generally, Six Sigma projects are taken at the process level, but ensure that your projects are aligned with a business objective. So whenever you take up any Sigma project or any improvement project, it is very important that you ensure why this project and how it is aligned with a business objective. So if I want to practice every day, I go for a morning walk or run. I try to ensure if I go for a run, my vision of running mini marathon at the age of 50 will get fulfilled. So any project which is you take up any project, please ensure that this project is in alignment with my business objective, or try to understand how this project is linked with a business objective. Now, primarily, this is a good example. Basically, generally in industries, we form a cross-functional team. So mechanical, electrical operations, you will be the operation guy who are chemical engineers. So come together. Basically, generally to solve the problem, people have an opinion or generally have a mindset of this is not my job. You can see how he has painted the road. It is not my job, like that. So basically, when we talk about a Six Sigma project, we also think of an end-to-end process. Talk pockets. We think end to finish. So if I take a yield, if I so I will talk about the cracker plant in to out. I will not talk only about any equipment or reactor or something like that. So the general approach of taking up a Six Sigma project is to address the end-to-end issue or end-to-end project. So if you have so many projects, after vision, mission, objective, you come across 10-15 projects, or at process level, you see there are many problems, and then you have to prioritize. You can prioritize the project based on the criteria. Now, again, it shouldn't. It has. Six Sigma will always emphasize on that. So if
Sir,
you
your
look at the
voice is
screen,
not so clear.
now,
Sir, your voice is not so clear, sir. Sometimes it
uh,
goes to very low, sir.
okay. So that may be because of my. Okay, now look at this. Now it is audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you want to prioritize, you have 10-15 projects and you must work on which is most significant one. So you can have an also prioritization criteria based on the table. So is it a statutory requirement? How much benefit it will give? Or what is the time of implementation? Now I have a very good project which is going to give me 100 crores, but it is going to take me 2 years. And instead of that, I have 3 projects which are giving me 50 lakhs, but can be implemented in just 6 months. So you have to look at that also. Then probability of the success, ease of operations. Again, this is not an hard and fast rule. So you can delete some criteria, you can add up some criteria, but what I want to say is whenever you also, it cannot be a subjective thinking. मुझे लगता है ये कर लो. So it has to have some logic behind that, and I am trying to build up that mathematical logic. Okay, why, how to prioritize, etc. So Six Sigma is all about the numbers. So your data must speak, and if your data speaks that this is a project which has to be done on the priority matrix, you have to do it. So I would also like to share the concept of a Malcolm-Aldrich award criteria. Now, this is where exactly the birthplace of Six Sigma. Now, to tell you a story about the US, so if you go back in 1985 or 86, there was a lot of competition by Japanese products in US. At that time, China was not in picture, but Japanese products used to dominate all the US markets. And there was a big question in front of the US government that what is to be done to improve the quality and process or the organizational excellence or performance excellence, etc. So Malcolm Badridge, who was the senator that time, came out with a criteria that the organizations must have their audits with respect to these 6 points and 7 the results. So how the leadership works, strategic planning is done, the customer focus is how the customer focus is of the organization, and measurement analysis and knowledge management is done. First focus or operation focus. So how if the organizations considers all these 6 aspects, then they are likely to excel. And what it was mandatory for all American organizations to get this Malcolm Badridge award. Audit. So what basically how it is done? The team of auditors comes to your organization and they actually see the evidence of everything. So when I say leadership, so how the leadership is actively involved in the various activities which are being done at Chalknover, how the policies are being decided, etc. So based on that, the team of examiners will give organization what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses. So they generally submit a report of 60-65 pages what the organization should do. And based on that, if the organizations implement those observations, it is likely that the performance of the organization will go up. Now, this was also made, and this was made mandatory during 85-87 era by our American government to all the American organizations. And they had an effect also because their quality improved and their products were started competing with the Japanese in the market. One of the criteria of this Malcolm Badridge award was whoever wins this prize will share what they are doing differently with all the participating organizations. So when Motorola in 1987-86 won the Malcolm Badridge Award, they come out with to the world with they have framed a Six Sigma methodology to reduce the defects or reduce the variation in the processes. That is where the Six Sigma birth is. So, during the Malcolm Badridge Award presentation, the Motorola came out with a methodology. They said we came out with a methodology which will improve our processes, improve the capability of the processes, it will reduce the defects in my processes or will reduce the defects in my products. That is how it has come to the world. Now, based on this Malcolm Badridge Award criteria, now also Malcolm Badridge Award criteria is not in the era of 85-87, it was mandatory for all American companies to get this certification. We have a similar award in India, which is called Ramkrishna Bajaj National Quality Award. Again, it is voluntary, it is not mandatory. But if the RB and QA examiner comes to your organization, he will examine your processes and give you the areas of improvement. And based on that, if the organization implements, it is a third party auditors, and basically if they implement that, it is likely that the performance of the organization will go up. So once you have now if you talk about the improvement, there are various ways of improvement. Again, you must have heard the word PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. Now, primarily, as I said earlier, there are few terms, few tools which have come from Japan and few from Western world. So typically, plan, do, check, act is a Japanese-oriented methodology where the steps are even in a Six Sigma. The steps are very common. It is not a rocket science. If you want to solve any problem, how the normal human being will think, the steps are in that manner only. So if you look at this plan, do, check, act, this is how we definitely solve any problem. If we have any problem, it is not that we are not involved in the problem solving and this is something rocket science, etc. But it is a fundamental way or methodology to follow it by step. So you can follow 8 steps. You must have heard 5 why, 1 H. So what, when, where, who, why, and how. So PDCA is based on that methodology. Now there is another methodology which is called again a 4D methodology. Discover, design, develop, and deploy. Again, there is problem solving approach which is called 8D approach. It is same. Now in 4D methodology break into 8 steps, or PDCA break into 8 steps. So essence of all these methodologies is to improve any process. Now similarly, if you look at the Six Sigma methodology, it says define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. But what are the advantages of using the Six Sigma method? So in Six Sigma methodology, generally focus is on data and the statistical tools. And in each and every process, I always say, if you want to complete any Six Sigma project, just answer 15 questions. So if you answer those 15 questions, you will get your project completed. That means you will get the improvement. So during our session, also during our presentation, I will go through those 15 questions so that you understand what is to be done next. So it is generally a problem for everybody. Where do I start? So you answer the 15 questions, you solve. That is how the Six Sigma methodology is. Very structured. And it has been also written at what stage which tool is to be used. Generally, the guidelines. In other methodologies, it is not that clear. So basically, why Six Sigma is different than others is basically it is a data-driven process. Then it ensures the alignment of the business objectives and involvement of the people and most organized methodology. So how does the Six Sigma work? So again, 5 steps, very common. The normal common man, the way he thinks, define the problem in terms of what is wrong. So what is wrong cannot be in English now. What is wrong has to be written in numbers. So primarily, go to the people, senior level people, they say the problem in terms of English. But what Six Sigma emphasizes is what is wrong in terms of the numbers. So the problem we have to represent in terms of the numbers. So then measure, again, this is also a very important point. Measure the current performance. This is also not emphasized by any other tools. So how good I am today, is it the best way to measure, or is there any other way to measure this? And how do I ensure that all my inspectors are having the same competency, which is usually done in a measure? And the second is, in this, we try to find out what is the existing capability of the process. So basically, process improvement or a Six Sigma is improving the capability of the process. So when I say we are trying to improve the capability of the process, what we do, we bring all our processes on 0 to 6 scale. This is what is fantastically done by Jack Welch in GE. He had so many businesses. So how when he took over as a CEO of GE, he wanted to understand where I should focus. And for that, what he tried to do, he tried to jot down all the KPIs for all the business on the scale of 0 to 6. So basically uniform scale. And when he brought all his companies on 0 to 6 scale, he was able to understand where I should focus on. And that is what is a fantastic thing which is explained in Six Sigma. So you may be having various processes, conversion, and time. Now, can you compare your yield ratio with time? So how to compare that? So Six Sigma or a capability analysis will bring both of them on 0 to 6. Your cycle time Six Sigma is less, or it is matlab, jitna 0 to 6 scale mein higher the better. So if you have a sigma level higher, your process is good. So wherever the process is bad on 0 to 6 scale, you will try to improve that process. That is how you can prioritize and you can look at the customer requirements. So that is what is fantastic thing which is emphasized in Six Sigma. Then an analyze phase, establish a root cause. So what is the root cause? When we want to shift any tree, what we try to do, we try to cut that tree from the root. So if we cut that from the root, the reoccurrence will be avoided. So causes of defects. The emphasis of Six Sigma is on causes of defects, not the defects. So the reoccurrence should not again come up. That is what is the analyze phase. Once we know the root cause, we will implement the solution and then control it. Then during a control phase again, we should have a control plan perfectly written down so that you will hand over the process to a process owner and come out of the project. Now, let us look at this slide. Now, these slides explain you whole of the Six Sigma methodology. Now, you can see a funnel on your screen. So it is about the equation y is equal to x1, x2, x3, x4, x5 and xn. So what is the y? Y is called effect. X1, x2, x3, x4 are called as an causes in Six Sigma. So when I say I take up steps, define, measure, analyze, improve. So in a define and measure phase, my focus is on y. So I try to understand what is my y or what is the output which is bad and what is the effect which is bad, so that I can improve that and I measure that, I ensure that my measurement system is right. I also ensure that where do I stand on 0 to 6 scale. This is all about y. From y again I come to x's. So you can see on the top of the funnel there are so many x's. So we call in a Six Sigma what are the potential reasons which can have effect on a y. So what can go wrong are my potential reasons. So at this moment I am not making any judgment that this is due to this only this is happening. Now try to understand or digest this concept. It is not like that it will solve the problem. Even if you go to the industry, I have been in the industry for 37 years. So it is not like that we don't solve the problems, but we solve the problems or we take up the problems where we know the solutions, or we go to the problem solving with the solution in mind. And Six Sigma exactly challenges that. What Six Sigma says, you identify what is the effect, what is the bad effect, and for that bad effect, what are the excess. So when you are saying excess, you will list down all the laundry list. At this moment, you are not saying that this is what is making effect, or you are not making any judgment. Now, to give an example, somebody's performance in the examination is not good. So what is the effect? The performance not good is my Y. Now this Y, it is measurable. There is a mechanism how to evaluate your performance, and based on that only your marks are given. So your I hope the measurement system is in place. Now to improve that performance, what are the reasons? So generally, I am not referring good books, or I am not studying. So we have a solution in mind, and we try to implement that solution and say we'll solve the problem. So Six Sigma methodology exactly challenges that, and Six Sigma methodology says that you identify all the reasons which can make effect on Y, and then what is the analyze phase, which is most important. Uh, uh, which are critical using a basic quality tool, statistical tool. There are various tools which are used in analyze phase. Now you have 100 reasons why I'm not performing, or why I'm not able to achieve my 100 meters race in 10 seconds. So based on that, I have 100 reasons. Now what I will do, I will screen those reasons based on statistical tools, quality tools, FMEA, value stream mapping, and narrow down either on the data or on the statistical analysis to arrive at the conclusion, these are my vital axes. It is most important. So if you follow a methodology using a statistical tools, you are you are likely to improve fast, and also to sustain the effects. That is most important and very important in Six Sigma method. Let me give you a very simple example. Now, as a part of my career, I am part of an operation for almost 24 years, 25 years for a polyester plant. Now, obviously, I had been there for 25 years. I know the process. So I am at production manager level. So naturally, I'll be knowing some of the problems. So there is some problem in polyester plant, and naturally, the answer is asked to me. What do you feel? I will be having some experience because I have worked there for 25 years. So let us say I say ki, this is happening only because we need to adjust the temperature, or we need to lower the temperature. Now I am 25 years of experience and production manager level in the industry. Now a guy like you has passed out from in chemical engineering and also being asked what is to be done. So maybe you will not agree to a temperature. So somebody says that we need to adjust a pH of the solution, or a pH in the reactor. Okay. So generally, what is implemented? Obviously, the muscle power always works in industry. So whatever the production manager say is implemented. The temperature is adjusted, and there is an improvement, and the production manager will proudly say, "देख मैं बोल रहा था ना ऐसा कर, अपना problem solve हो जाएगा." But what is unfortunate in our day-to-day activities that we don't explore the pH, which is said by an young engineer. Now, what is the emphasis of Six Sigma is, whenever you are checking temperature for an correlation, you must also check the pH also for an correlation. It may happen that by improving or adjusting a temperature, you will get an improvement to the tune of 40%, but if you adjust the pH, you may get an improvement to 60%, but we don't explore at all. Why? Because we are happy. We go with a mindset of knowing the solution, and we take up a problem where we know a solution, and we proudly say that the production manager will proudly say that yes, देख मैं बोल रहा था ना ये ऐसा हो जाएगा, मैं temperature adjust करूंगा तो हो जाएगा. And we don't explore the other axis. Where exactly Six Sigma challenges that. The Six Sigma says कि you identify the potential reasons and screen those axes using tool or data. You must have some concrete reason to eliminate that X and then arrive at the critical X. So generally, the traditional way, the way we operate, that मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है, I think it should be the reason, doesn't have much value in Six Sigma. So generally, many people don't like this also, because it says that you have to be a data oriented or data oriented. The data will speak. So when you are screening those X's, you have to produce the data and say that yes, because of this is showing a correlation, and this correlation coefficient says that it has got a significant impact, and that is why this is my critical X. Once you know that critical X, then you control that X. So basically, what is a Six Sigma punchline written at the bottom is, in Six Sigma we control X's and monitor Y. We don't control Y. The Y is an effect. So we don't go to monitor Y. So what we control X's, we control reasons, we control causes, so that my Y will be automatically in control. But for that, I have to understand what are my vital X's, and that is what is the Six Sigma methodology is. So you have now understood what is define, measure, analyze, improve, and control phases are. So basically, analyze phase is most critical to identify from potential X's to the vital X's. So all the reasons to important reasons. Once we know that what is the DMA roadmap, it is very structured process. It has been clearly written down. What is to be done after what. So in a define phase, what you will do, in a measure phase, what you will do, analyze phase, like etc. So it is like a good travel agent who gives you all information, in which hotel you will stay, where you will take snacks, what snacks will be served, what time you will go, which plane you will go, etc., etc. So it is a structured process. Okay. If you answer 15 questions, you will get your project completed. So why Six Sigma works? Basically, or a profitability improvement. So all the emphasis of Six Sigma has been on profitability. So if we look at the few of the examples in the history, there are few companies. They have saved a lot of money, like GE, Honeywell, Dow Chemicals, billions of money, dollars they have saved using this concept of a Six Sigma. And GE was a pioneer in that. GE implemented or popularized the Six Sigma. Motorola invented Six Sigma, but GE popularized the Six Sigma. The concept is improvement in the bottom line. Bottom line means I want to improve the process effectiveness and efficiency of the process. That is most important, which is emphasized in Six. So improvement in bottom line. Then second is focus on the customer requirement. So what does my customer really want? So when I said we improve the capability of the process on the scale of 0 to 6. So when we calculate capability of the process on 0 to 6 scale, 0 to 6 scale, we consider what a customer wants, what the customer specifications are. The capability of the process is calculated based on the customer's expectations. So we always use this term, this professor is very capable, Prime Minister Modi is very capable, or somebody is not. how do we arrive at this capability? So this capability is based on an expectation of the customer. So if some professor, we call him as a very capable professor, so what is expected by the student and he is delivering out of that, then we call him as a capable professor. So if the expectations are high, it may happen that capability of the process will be poor. So it depends on the expectation of the professor, customer, and Six Sigma is calculated focus the customer requirements. There are two types of customer: is external and internal. We'll look at that in slides ahead during a define phase. But what is most emphasized in Six Sigma methodology, generally when we say customer, it is always comes the name which comes always to our minds who is an external customer who buys the product. But here the concept is not like that. And the next process is a customer. So try to visualize the stomach is a customer of a mouth. Although we look at the process on an end-to-end basis, but we say the stomach is a customer of mouth. So we try to find out what is required by my next process, and that is where he is called as a customer. And based on that, the capability of the process is designed. That is what is focus on the customer requirements. Sorry, I went back actually. Sound, statistical, and disciplined approach. It is a very disciplined approach. So step by step, everything is written, and potential excess screening to a critical excess is based on the statistical approach or data-driven approach. I feel like this data-driven culture, so that everybody will talk in terms of the data. So somebody observes something, observations, and out of that I found that 6 times this has happened. So data-driven culture. So everybody will talk about the data and not the sentiments or not the subjective knowledge or etc. I feel like that. Okay. Clearly defines of measure of success. So once you take up a project, it clearly defines whether you are completed with the project or not completed of the project based on the metric improvement. So all the objective of an Six Sigma methodology is to improve the process. So let me give you a simple example. Suppose you have taken up some process for an improvement where cycle time is 30 minutes. Now, when I say 30 minutes, it will have a variation of 20 and 40. Now, you have improved your cycle time. That means you want to reduce that cycle time. Now, you have reduced that cycle time to 20, but with the variation from 10 to 40. So, are you going to say that my process is statistically improved? Now, how do I say whether my process is statistically improved or not? It comes with the event of a probability. So, using a tool called hypothesis testing, I ensure that my next observation will be 20. And if the probability of the event for 20 comes more, then I say the process has statistically changed. And after completing any project, because generally people go by averages. So this methodology emphasizes that the statistical change had happened in the process, and it is very important that is why I said clearly defines if you have changed the process statistically, you have completed the project, and if you have not changed the process statistically, the project is not done. Means the ultimate objective is to reduce the variation in the process, improving the capability of the process. When you reduce the variation in the process, like I said an example, 30 to 20 with very less variation, so the reliability of the process goes up, I become more confident in the process, and when I become more confident in the process, means my probability of the success that it will come to 20 is more. That is how it is done in Six Sigma. This is emphasized in Six Sigma. Then, as I rightly said, it encourages team culture. We had a story at the start telling about how Hare and Tortoise came together and formed team to achieve their result faster. Then it also talked about the improved employee engagement. Now, this is a very these are the various aspects which are not clearly visible as an bottom line approach, but are very useful for an organization. I have often seen the people, those who have completed the project, if they are presenting their projects in the outside world in a excellence award competitions at Symbiosis or quality Impro consulting excellence awards, etc. They take a pride in that. They say, I have done it. I have done it for my organization. I am presenting it. And with that pride, when he comes back again, he again looks for an improvement in the processes. That is how he gets engaged with an organization. And it becomes his mindset to improve any process. That is how gets he involved in the organization. That is what is about the improving employee engagement. And then a fantastic thing, many of the people do it for infrastructure of trained individuals. So once you go through a certification called yellow belt, green belt, black belt, your way of thinking is very different. So you often, if you look at the problem, you will always look at it, what is the metric of Fermi? So what are the potential excess? How do I screen those excess to come to a vital excess? Is it a data-driven process, or which statistical tool, or how do I sustain it? It is very important. Many of the organizations like Lupin Laboratories, Dr. Gandhi was very much emphasizing on this, that the culture of the organization changes, and then infrastructure trained people will always come forward. That is how I say every problem has two solutions, either bhag lo or bhag lo, that is run away or participate. Now, if people in your organizations are trained, naturally, if there is some problem, they will come forward. So let me check up. I have learned some Six Sigma. Even today, I am a master black belt. I go forward and say, I am master black belt. Let me check up what I can do for this business. I have learned so many tools. Can I implement these tools, or can I implement some of the tools to solve this problem? So that is what is participate. So the organizations want people to participate. That is why they encourage training on this to improve their analytical skills. Since people know that they will participate, they will come forward, they will take up the projects, etc., etc. Let me give you a simple example. Two of the students of your age are crossing a river in a boat. One who knows swimming, and one is not knowing a swimming. Who among them will be confident? Of course, the one who knows swimming will be confident. Although I give assurance that boat is not going to topple, still the one who knows swimming will be always confident, and he will say, let me check up yaar, topple hota hai, to let me check up whether I can swim or not. So that is the approach which is being followed in the. So once you are trained, your participation in problem solving improves, and you take up new projects. You take up participate for the improvements in the organization. That is what is expected. So coming back to a Six Sigma. So the Six Sigma, the way it is defined by Michael Harry, who was an architect when it was structured in Motorola in '87. He says a business improvement approach that seeks to find out, eliminate causes of mistakes or defects. So eliminate mistakes or defects nahi, eliminate causes of defects or eliminate causes of excess. मतलब x1, x2, x3 में से हम लोग will identify which x is having an impact and we'll root cause that and then eliminate that. The whole emphasis is avoiding the reoccurrence of the event. That is how he defines the process. Now, the try of Six Sigma is always to have a perfect process. So, if you must have seen a car racing, in a car racing, a car comes to a pit and goes out of a pit within 10 to 15 seconds. So if you look at that operation, there are so many people involved in pit. So many activities are being done. So that is what is an example of an perfect process. So to have a perfect process, what is the process objective? It has to be valuable. So if it has to be valuable, we will be using lean tools. It has to be using statistical tools. Available. That is total productive maintenance. Adequate. So theory of constraint. So I have an order of some chemical for 200 metric tons and per day. My reactor capacity is not that. I am only able to produce, my reactor is designed for an 180. So that is what is a constraint. So it has to be adequate also and flexible also, so that changes in the process or changes in the product. So one grade of PP to another grade of PP, I am able to go in a minimum time and minimum losses. So that is what is the flexibility. The common term which is used or tool is used is single minute exchange of die, SMED. So how does this SMED concept came from? So it has came from a tomato manufacturing process. So you must have heard tomato production system, that is called TPS, and in that TPS there is a concept which is called as an SMED, single minute exchange of die. It is very simple. Suppose there are so many models of Toyota or so many there are now, even today in India, there are so many models available for Maruti, Suzuki, etc. So if I want to change over from my Baleno to S-Cross, it should be done in a minimum time, because if I waste one day for that, my productivity goes lost. So this is what is very important, that how I am able to change my production from one product to another product in a minimum time. That is concept of an flexibility. So when do we call an organization as a Six Sigma organization? So as in Six Sigma, we all talk about the numbers. So it is not in English, but it is clearly written in terms of the numbers. So 6 to 10% of the bottom line comes from a Six Sigma projects. Means, there is, let me be very clear. So whatever technical knowledge you are taking as a part of your chemical engineer has no substitute. So kinetics or thermodynamics or material balance has got its own importance, and that is contributing. Generally what is said is 95% contribution is from your technical knowledge, and 5% which is add-on or add-on which comes from in Six Sigma. So it is clearly mentioned here, your 6 to 10% of the profit must come from in your improvement projects. Means basically, if any organization who is coming, our 95% of the profit is coming from an organization, they are doing something grossly wrong. So it is clearly written, it is having an edge over the other. So methodology is not to replace your technical knowledge, but it is just give you a boost up, or just give you your support or help to having an edge over the other, solve the problem faster, or solve the problem on a permanent basis, or how to use the methodology, etc., etc. So it is very clearly written. 6 to 10% from the projects. Then 5 to 10% of the population is black belt or master black belt. 40 to 50% population is green belt. That means your 60% of the people are, they know what is Six Sigma methodology is, and they know how the structure works, statistical tools are used. They basically believe on data. Your HODs, plant managers, are champions, means they have an awareness about the Six Sigma methodology. Means how do I check this, whether this project will, or whether this improvement will sustain or not. So if you climb up the hierarchy, it is very important for you to understand that some improvement your subordinate has bring to you, and some improvement work, and that improvement work data shows that there is a lot of variation in the process. Sometimes it comes 50, sometimes 17, sometimes it is 80, or sometimes it is 30. He is claiming that my average has changed. So obviously, using your Six Sigma knowledge, you are going to question him. Is it going to sustain? Is the change statistical? If the change is statistical, then there is a probability that it will sustain the improvement. Okay? Then, the stream of projects in a pipeline. I said there are improvement projects in a thought process. The list is ready with you or with an organization, what next to be done. So that is what is the criteria for a Six Sigma organization. Then HR policies aligned with the Six Sigma. There are few organizations in India, even a Motorola, where their HR policies were aligned with the organization policies. Now, as I give you an example of Motorola, so Motorola was an originator of Six Sigma. If you are not a black belt, you cannot climb a higher level position, or you cannot go to a higher level position in Motorola. Now Motorola is closed down last year, but before that, for 30-40 years, they had a policy that if a person is not, he cannot become a plant manager. Even in G, there is a criteria to get a promotion that if you are not a green belt, you cannot climb up certain level. Kirloskar Cummins. So HR policies are aligned with the deployment. Then are the Six Sigma efforts self-sustaining without an external help? So there are so many consultants they support, but whether the Six Sigma initiative is self-sustaining, or you can say whether it is a part of an culture of an organization, or are they ready to help their suppliers? Are they ready to help their customers? The example of Tata, the Tata Motor, they always help their suppliers to deploy a Six Sigma at their end. Suppliers, so that they ensure if product which is coming from supplier to us is of good quality, we may not have a problem. So they are trying to improve the quality of a supplier. Now, the latest examples in this is IT industry. There is a lot of demand in IT industry for a black belt. So basically, why? Because in IT, most of the clients are in Western India, Western world, that is Europe, America. And if the IT company says he is a black belt and he has, because all of them work on the projects, so he has worked on a project using a Six Sigma methodology, the customers who are seeking those services are ensured that he has used the Six Sigma concept. That means the quality of the project or quality of the project he is delivering is good. So that is what is the customer and supplier. So which are the companies which are Six Sigma internationally and nationally? So there are a few examples here. Then actually, how does the Six Sigma develop over the period? That is very interesting. So you will get, you will heard the terms black belt, green belt, yellow belt. So normally you will also get, hey, what are these terms? So when Motorola initially started this concept of deployment of a Six Sigma, they do not had this in mind of a green belt and yellow belt. They had in mind a concept of a black belt. Like if you refer to an business process mapping, they always talk about the business level KPI, business level KPI. So the black belt is really a black belt. The term comes from a martial art only. So if you look at a karate or something like that, or martial art, the black belt is highly proficient. So they call this fellow as a black belt who is highly proficient of an statistical tools, etc., and looking at the end-to-end processes. Now it goes like that. Generally, a black belt who works, at least the Motorola had that concept, and he used to work full time on this concept. So, suppose any organization or any plant or a site will have a black belt, 8 to 10 black belts who are working full time on the improvement projects. So there will be tenure, of course, for that period. So the black belt will come out of the process. Now, normally your traditional operations, he will focus on improvement, only work on the improvement projects, deliver his projects, 3-4 projects, what has been assigned him for a tenure of 1 year, etc. He will come out of the process and again go back to the process after 1 year, having trained as a black belt. Now, once he is trained as a black belt, he will take up a higher charge or go on a higher position again in the process. Like that, for almost 40 years, Motorola has been rotating their people every year. So everybody who is a good as an analytical skill will come as a black belt, get trained and go back to the process. Like that, the process was going on. Of course, the vision was long term, and the focus was on cultural transformation. Now, when Motorola closed down, there 60% of the people were black belts. So it is a change in the culture of the organization, the way people think, the way people talk in terms of data, etc. So that was Motorola. Of course, the scope was global, and as I said, they come out of the methodology to reduce the defects in their pagers. Now, you don't know even the pagers. In our era, when we were young, pagers were very popular. So basically, it is to reduce the defects in the process. Now, implementing any project is only not about the statistical analysis, etc. It has got other soft skill also, leadership qualities, then negotiation skills, networking, implementing the solution, making the consensus on the solution. So what Jack Welch thought that if it is very important, why I am restricting it only to the 10-15 people in the organization? I will throw it open for all. And he said that everybody in my organization, G, is green belt, and he will undertake 2 projects per year for improvement. And if he don't improve or don't implement any of the projects, he is not entitled to get his performance linked incentive for the year. So what has happened? Now look at this process. There are 4,000, 5,000 employees in GE. Imagine, I'm not exactly quoting a number. So there are 5,000 employees in the GE. Everybody has started thinking about the improvement, and everybody has to complete 2 projects. So 10,000 process has improved. Now, improving those 10,000 process will help the organization improve their effectiveness, efficiency or not. So, he has, the GE or Jack Welch implemented this methodology as a management system. Again, incorporating it with HR policies, he said, if you are not completing a project, you are not entitled to get a PLI for this year, performance link incentive or bonus for this year. To be very clear for you, is you will not get a bonus for this year. So what happened with this? Everybody started thinking about the improvement. That is how he could able to convert a loss-making company to a profit-making company, and then he brought in the concept of an cost. He brought the concept on the cost. So all the time, if I improve quality, how much I will improve, how much money I will gain. So he brought the focus of a cost to a Six Sigma. And then obviously, if suppose like I said, the black belt, who is more proficient in Six Sigma, then he diluted it to green belt. He is not that proficient, but he is using some simple tools or basic tools to solve the problems. And let me tell you very frankly that in Six Sigma, majority 95% of the problems get solved using the basic tools. Only that the 5% of the project needs a very critical thinking or very high level tools like regression analysis, correlation analysis, etc. Otherwise 95% of the problems get solved using basic tools. We'll cover those basic tools as you are part of a curriculum next time, but this is how. So he based on this thinking, what Jack Welch thought, that I should make everybody a green belt. There will be a concept of an what is defined phase, metric, how to understand the capability of the process, etc. So he popularized that among the GE employees, and then he changed the culture of the organization. Now, going ahead, now the focus has come shoot at sight. So local level problems. So some basically when I say I take an example, when I take a example of a black belt, I am talking about the end-to-end process. Then when I say green belt, I came to a regional problem. So I am talking about an efficiency of end-to-end polypropylene process. Then I come to a particular reactor or particular equipment of the process, and when I go to an again third step called yellow belt, I shoot at sight. I only talk about the quality of particular grade. So I'm not I'm making it smaller. So yellow belt is at beginner level, then the green belt, and then black belt at a very proficient level. So what is the focus now? Earlier the focus was defect, then the cost, and now the value. So it is always said improve value using a lean tools nowadays. So nowadays Six Sigma is very popular. It is used in IT industry, service industry. Even if you go to your IAS training college at Himachal Pradesh, even IAS officers are being taught about the Six Sigma methodology, because it is all about improving the transactional process using a value. So what is value? So value is satisfaction is equal to expectation minus experience. Means, is my experience worth it? Let me give you a simple example. We always go to the hotel. After having a dinner or lunch, you get a bill of 1524 rupees. Now, the first question after getting that bill, 1524 rupees, was that experience worth it? So, if there is worth it, then we say it is a value. It is not related to quality. It is my experience worth it? Is an value. I also go and have a tea at Tapri, but I pay only 10 rupees for that. So I get worth it experience if I am only paying 10 rupees. Now, if I go, I get a taste which is okay because what I pay for that, what I get. Now, if I go to a Taj 5-star hotel and get the same quality of tea after paying 1000 rupees, is it worth it? No. So it is not about the quality. It is about the experience. Is it worth it? If the experience is worth it, you say that the process has created a value. The process is important. Now, this is what is important. We are always checking whether I have created some value or not. In a Japanese terminology, when any person comes to an organization, he either produces value, he either adds value or produces waste. They are the only two things they do, either add value or produce waste. So how the value can be added? So the value can be added by physical transformations, means actually taking part. When you are now young engineers, you will go in a chemical industry or plants. So you will be operating the chemical industry for certain products, polypropylene, polyethylene, some chemicals, etc. So you will be doing some physical transformation, you will be controlling something, looking at the panel, etc. So you are involved in a physical transformation. Now with the slowly you climb up the ladder, you become a day engineer or shift engineer or become a production manager. What is your approach is you are solving the problems or you are improving the processes which are helpful for actual operation people. So your value addition is by the way of process improvements. There are third type of people also, documentation or information. Now you are actually producing a polypropylene, but there is an administrative manager, there is a HR manager, or there is a timekeeper who is involved in this process. So what does he actually do? He does, or a weighman clerk. What does he do? He actually documents the information. So many of the time that information is also a value added activity. So whenever we look at that, how to diagnose the process, and is any step adding value to your process or not adding value to the process, that we need to understand, which is called as an value added work or non value added work. But what is important way to understand is each step or each activity must add value to the process. So look at the process. We often see this clock at the signal. Now, if it is showing 125, obviously many of you people will shut off your bike, car, will drink water, change the CD, or have a phone call, or get a phone call, or look at the WhatsApp, waiting at the signal. So all these work or activities or value addition work is possible because there is a clock involved. Clock is indicating you the time. So the clock is actually not taking part in the process. Clock hai karke, because of clock my red signal doesn't turn green early, or my green doesn't become red early, but gives me an information how I can utilize this time. That is what is a value addition and good example of an value. So this is what is introduction to Six Sigma. Now when we actually go for a phase, there is a defined phase where we will ask three questions. What is important to my customer? What is my purpose and plan? And how do my process look like? So there are 5 steps. At each step, there are 3 questions. So the defined phase questions are: what is important for my customer? Or what is, now if you look at that, there is a yellow square in which it is written as identify project CTQ. And in the black, it is written that what is important for my customer. Now what is written in a black is a layman's language. but what is written in the block is a typical Six Sigma language. So what is my CTQ? So what is my CTQ is what is critical to quality. So I need to improve what is critical to quality and what is important for my customer. So when next step is develop my team charter. So what is my purpose and plan comes as a charter, and define the process map. How does my present process look like? I think Nikhil, if I do few slides, it will be an. So we'll stop here today, and next time I will continue from this time. Hello, Himanshu.
No problem,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Any doubts so far?
We'll just quick. Yeah.
Hello.
Any
Yes, sir.
Hello. हाँ बोलिए.
and
I'm not able to
I
listen.
can yes, if anybody has doubts, ask them right now. Question or doubt- doubts can be regarding today any other doubt relating to
Sure, let them ask the doubts afterwards also, no issue.
Anybody have any doubts?
No, sir.
ठीक है, डिफाइन होने दो, बाद में आ जाएंगे डाउट्स. अभी तो इंट्रोडक्टरी था.
hello.
Right, sir.
Okay. चलो, even they have any doubts, they can ask me. मेरा मेल एड्रेस पे पूछो या फोन पे, कुछ
Okay,
भी.
sir.
चलो.
ठीक है, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
सुरू नाही केलं